Welcome to my language landscape. For you, a little insight into my linguistic past, and for me, a trip down memory lane. Let's start at the beginning. I was born on November 8, 1995 in Zaandam. My mum was 50% Italian, and my father, who was nowhere to be found, was 100% Italian. My mum didn't speak the language, so I missed out on being raised bilingual. And don't worry about the dad part. I found a new one. It all started with your standard baby talk, nothing original. You got your gugu, your gaga. The first few Dutch words were learned by imitating the people around me, mostly my mum and my grandparents. These words and shouts cannot be linked to any 7 level yet, since they're not really basic questions, but more like very basic commands, like give me food, give me a bed. I was probably 4 years old when I was finally able to understand my mum, and when I was finally able to talk and exchange information in a simple way. So that means my 7 level was around A1 at that age. Let's move on to primary school. This was the first time where I was actually learning about the Dutch language, and I remember being quite good at it. I started reading at a very young age and had no struggles with the AV levels for reading. I love discovering new words, and I can still visualize the moment when I was able to decipher the road signs. That was a very special moment. At this time, let's say age 9, my 7 level in Dutch was probably between A to B1. I could describe some experience and describe some of my ambitions and dreams, although in a very childish way, of course. English came into my life at an early age. My stepbrother used to play a lot of video games, and sometimes he allowed me to watch him play, but I remember getting very excited by what was happening on the screen. The first English phrase I learned was probably "get the F out of the way", thanks to GTA 3. At age 9-10 though, I was finally able to play video games for myself, and I started to watch a lot of American and British TV shows. At this age, I think my 7 level in English was probably around a light A1 and moved up to a light A2 at the end of primary school. I could understand most text in game, and I was able to have small conversations in English with my friends. Secondary school is where I started to learn a lot more about the English language. I had a great teacher and did very well in my first year. My second year, not very good. My mind started to drift away and my focus was not so much on school. I was very excited for all the new languages though. At age 15, in the middle of secondary school, my 7 level for English was probably at B2 level. I noticed that I was getting familiar with the language to a point where you don't have to think so much about the language anymore when you're having a conversation. Dutch was probably between B2 and C1. I was really good at it and I enjoyed all the reading assignments. Same for English. German and French were both at A1 level. My grades were not bad though, I just noticed that I wasn't really confident when speaking those languages and I really struggled with the grammar. Struggling with grammar and learning the German language don't go that well together, and for that reason I chose French for my final years in secondary school. At the end of secondary school, my English was probably at B2. At this stage, I really knew my strengths and weaknesses. I noticed that I was very proficient in both reading and listening, probably almost at a C2 level. I was able to read and understand academic texts. Speaking and writing, well, not bad, were definitely lacking, probably a B2, since I was still able to express myself in a range of topics. My French was at A2. I was terrible at speaking and could barely introduce myself, but my reading was quite good. My Dutch was somewhere between C1 and C2. I learned a lot of big words. I feel like out of all these strange languages that I learned, English is the one that stuck most with me, and the amount of media that I've consumed was definitely a contributing factor. English is everywhere, and I don't know, German and French are just not around me anymore. I don't feel passionate about them. French and German were just mandatory classes that I had to attend with exams that I had to pass. Let's end the video by finding out what my 7 levels are right now, since secondary school ended 4 years ago. My Dutch is still somewhere between C1 and C2. I'm able to read and understand difficult academic work, and I'm able to express ideas without any searching at all. Teaching the Dutch language was actually my second choice after English. I still consider English to be my favorite language. My French and German are back at A1. The languages are just not around me anymore, and I forgot most of it. My English is somewhere between B2 and C1. My strengths and weaknesses that I've mentioned before are still relevant. I still know what I struggle at. I still have some things to learn, but I'm able to have a long conversation about a wide range of topics. Specifics don't scare me. I might use some basic terminology though, and I can definitely work on improving my grammar. That's everything. Please let me know if you have any questions or if you would like to provide me with some feedback. Maybe on how I applied my 7 levels, or maybe you just want to tell me how good my landscape looks. Thanks for watching and ciao. That's Italian.